And finally, the last question on this test, it says plot the points A, B, C, D. Give the best description for this quadrilateral. Um, Provide reasons that justify your conclusions. What about the angles or the side lengths, etc. So let's go ahead and plot them in order. So I'll start with A is going to 3, 2. Actually, it's convenient for me to write the 3, 2 as I do it. So A is at 3, 2. Sorry, I have to move. B is at 1, 6. So I'm going to go 1 and then up to 6 right here. So I'll write B is at 1, 6. The next point, C, is at 5, 8. So I'm going to go over 5. Oops, over 5 and then up to 8. So this is the point C, and it's at 5, 8. And then the final point that I have here is 7, 4. So over 7 and up to the 4. And this is point, I think, D. And again, it was at 7, 4. So when I look at it, it certainly is a quadrilateral. If I turn the ruler on and connect these points, right, here's one of them, and here's, oh, that feels off. Here's another pair of points, and I can rotate the ruler and go ahead and draw these also. So one of the things that I believe, it appears that it could be a square or at least a rhombus. It appears that it's got sides that are all the same length. So if I was to look at this, you can see, for example, this is a 2 by 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see that, right? Or I could say this line has a slope. Actually, let's track the slopes too. This line has a slope of, what is it? It's down 1, 2, 3, 4 over 2. So this has a slope of negative 4 over 2, which would be negative 2, down 2 over 1. So this has a slope of negative 2. And if I look right across from it, this is also down 4 over 2. So this also has a slope of negative 2. So I know that it could be a trapezoid because those two sides have the same slope. If I look at this, this is up 2 and then over 4, right? Up 2 over 4. That has a slope that's equal to 2 over 4 is 1/2. This pen is too thick. Let me change that. So this is a slope of 1/2. And this is matching that also, up 2 over 4. So this is 1/2. So now it could be a parallelogram because both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. They have equal slopes. But also, check this out. One of the slopes was negative 2, right? The other slope was 1/2. So those slopes are opposite in sign and reciprocals. Another way of thinking about it is if I take negative 2 and I multiply it by 1/2, when I multiply those, when I multiply those, I get an answer of negative, what is that? That's negative 1. So it turns out, yeah, anytime you take and you multiply two segments and you get a slope of negative 1, I'm sorry, when you multiply their slopes, if you get a product of negative 1, those slopes ends up being, those lines end up being perpendicular. This is ridiculous. I'm trying to grab my power adapter right now and plug in my Surface because it just said that my battery is going dead on me, so I'm plugging this in. Okay, there we go. So yeah, the upshot is because those lines are perpendicular, they have opposite reciprocal slopes, right? These have to be right angles, and the same thing's happening up here with the 1/2 and negative 2. These have to be right angles. So not only is it a parallelogram, but it appears that it is also a rectangle. And the final thing that we notice is that, notice those legs of these right triangles here, right? They were all 2 followed by 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 by 4. Well, when I look at 2 squared plus 4 squared, it doesn't matter how many times I do it, I always get root 20, which let's see, if I divide that by 4, right, that's 4 times 5. Well, 4 times 5. Square root of 4 is what, 2? This is 2. I think this is 2. That's the square root of 5. So each one of those sides is exactly 2 root 5 units long. So it is also not just a rectangle, this is a square. So I need to record those observations, and you can see everything in the diagrams here, but I'm just going to say all sides are 2 times the square root of 5 units long, and adjacent sides that touch each other, adjacent sides have slopes of, was it -2 and positive 1/2. So adjacent sides are, the word's perpendicular, which means that we have 90-degree angles, ANGLES. So this is a square, SQUARE. There we go. So this is a square for 2 reasons, right? The reasons are that all 4 sides are equal in length, and adjacent sides have opposite reciprocal slopes, so adjacent sides are perpendicular to each other. So that's the absolute last problem on this test. This is Mr. Roberts, always in room 309. Come by and say hi, and if you want to talk about math, that's a plus. Goodbye.